Alright guys, so I'm starting off with the glue stick. Just using this to press down my eyebrows, just so that we have a kind of like a pressed canvas. And then I'm using a spoolie just to brush them, and then a little bit of powder to set. Then I'm using this fan brush just to remove any excess. Now I use this chroma pencil. It's the chromographic pencil from MAC. And I thought this would work to cancel out the color, but it was just a mistake. And you'll see later in the video, I kind of regretted it, but it all worked out because you just use a little bit of black, and I'll show you in a little bit too. Then I use my fingers just to blend everything together. Now here I am using the Studio Fix Fluid NC10 and using the Damp Beauty Blender just to blend everything all nice and even. As you can see, I have my contacts in. Honestly, I don't know what they're called, but it's kind of like a netted white, and then I put some black contacts in too. Here I am using the MAC Chroma Cake in white and using a little bit of Fix Plus just to get it wet. Now this brush I got from Michaels. It's just a flat paintbrush, and this is where I kind of regretted it because it does, like, the orange does come off a little bit, but it's fine. You will be fine, I promise. Then I also went in with my sponge just to blend it out. And then at the end, I just ended up using the Chroma Cake all over my face to make it a little bit more on the pale side. I still wanted it to look a little bit skin-like, kind of like old Raggedy Doll. So then I used my sponge just to blend everything together. Here I actually put the Chroma Cake all over my face, which is a bad idea because usually you're supposed to do it like one step at a time, just because then it's hard to blend. But then you can go in with a little bit of Fix Plus just to make it all melt together. Now here I am using the NYX Jumbo Pencil in black. Now this is gonna become our base for all of our eyeshadow and all that. So I bring it all the way up to my brow and then around the bottom of my eye. Using Carbon eyeshadow from MAC, I'm going to use that to set the cream pencil. Okay, here is where I am going to use the 217 brush to blend all the edges. So I kind of grabbed the black eyeshadow just to blend all those edges around. As you can see, it's covering that brow. Not as much, but it does do the trick, I promise. So I'm going to do the same thing to my other eye as well. Then I kind of made this part a little bit higher, and then on my other eye I went back and I did it a little bit on the bottom. Now using the black Chroma Cake from MAC, I am going to start creating these little veins on my face, and I am using another paintbrush. I got this set from Michaels. It comes with a bunch of different sizes of brushes, so I just use that because I don't want to mess up my own brushes. So then here I switch to a smaller brush, and you're just gonna create just little kind of like veins and cracks. These are actually cracks. I don't know why I call them veins, but it's okay. So we are just creating just random lines here and there to create those cracks, and then kind of fill in, there we go, little areas here and there so we can create some depth. So you can just follow along, and then you can just create your own cracks here and there. I'm gonna do it all over my eyes on both, and then I'm gonna do it all over the face. Here I'm just creating little dots. Now I am going in with the Studio Fix powdered in NC20, and just to set everything on my face, I just want to use a little bit of the color because I don't want it to look as pale. I do want it to have a little bit of color because at the end of the day it's still a doll, so they do have some color. Now here I am using the L'Intensity from MAC in Stallion. This is just to intensify our lippy. And then here, using a big fan brush and carbon eyeshadow, I'm just going to use this to carve out my cheeks and a little bit on my forehead. Now here I wanted to create those areas, those cracks, a little bit more fun, I guess you can say. And I added a little bit of a mix of silver and black glitter here. So I'm adding it to my lip, and then I'm going to add it to those crevices in the so-called cracks. In order to make those stick, I'm actually using the Black Duo eye glue, and then just using a flat brush to apply the glitter. So I'm just going to apply it in all the little missing pieces and all around my face. Okay, and then I am also going to be going in with the NYC liquid liner in black. This is just to create smaller cracks here and there. As you can see, I'm using very, very light pressure on all of these areas because I don't want to overdo it with big cracks. So I want to do smaller cracks around the face, and then in those cracks that I already had, I just added a little bit more. I'm going to extend my lips a little bit further out just to make it look like she's alive. So that way it looks like she broke, that she like opened her mouth to talk. So we're just gonna add a little bit here and extend it kind of like a Joker mouth, but a little bit smaller, and make it look like it's actually cracked. And then I'm just gonna add the same thing, a little bit of duo glue, and then glitter again. And then whatever's left on my glitter brush, I am going to pat here and there because it has a little bit of that glitter, and also a little bit of black shadow. That way it looks like dirt and it's been everywhere. Here I am going to be using the 217 brush and carbon eyeshadow. As you can see, I kind of did a little bit on my nose, the contour, and then I'm going to do it around my nose area, the nostrils, and a little bit on the bottom of my lip as well. I'm going in with the Beauty Blender again and the Studio Fix Fluid in NC10. Again, I am actually going to bring it down all the way to my shoulders, but I wasn't quite sure yet. So I just brought it down to my neck, and then I started creating those crevices and cracks on my neck as well. And I'll show you in just a sec that I actually went through and finished it all over my shoulders and my décolleté area. So here we are, we're adding it all over. This took a lot longer than I thought. So just be patient with it. I honestly didn't know where I was going with all this. As you can see, kind of like on the left hand side here, it looks like I have a little bit of orange because I was doing some like crazy stuff, but I ended up taking it off because I didn't like it. But it's okay, it all turned out really good. Now using Gesso eyeshadow from MAC, I'm going to use that to set that area here because I still want to make it look white. And then using a little bit of that same carbon eyeshadow and a small face brush, I am actually carve out my collarbones. And then I didn't know where I was going with this, but I kind of made it kind of like shaded areas, and I brought it up to my neck and on the back of my shoulders. Just make sure whenever you're blending this, just keep on blending and keep on adding some eyeshadow, just because it gets a little bit kind of spotty. So just keep going at it, and I promise it's gonna look good at the end. I promise. And here you can see that I am kind of making that area a little bit hollow with the 217 brush again. And then adding a little bit more details on my collarbone. I obviously don't have collarbone, so I gotta create my own. Here you can see that I brought it back on my, kind of like on the back of the shoulders. It's a lot harder than what I thought. You can see here I'm kind of struggling, but it's all good. There we go. I'm just kidding. So then I used a little bit of kind of like a brown red eyeshadow to make it look like blush. And I'm actually using that same face brush that had a little bit of black in it because I still wanted to look vintage and old. So I'm just gonna put that right on my apples of my cheek. And then using that pencil brush and the Chroma Cake in black again. Now here I am actually going to make it seem like there's a piece missing, and I'm gonna make a couple of these actually, and I'll show you in just a sec how I make this. So I make kind of like a little triangle, and it absolutely does not have to be perfect. You want it to be as old and as imperfect as you can, because everything that's broken is not perfect. And then here you can't really see it, but this piece is a little bit bigger. I did create kind of like the same thing, but then I decided I didn't like it, and then I made it into like a little bit more of a square. As you can see here, I'm kind of like figuring it out. It's so much harder when you're trying to do it on yourself, but it all works out. And then I use the NYC to detail again. And I think I'm gonna use, yeah. So I'm going to use the Duo again to make those glitter crevices. Here you can see in a more detail that I'm adding that glitter. And then just press on the glitter. You don't have to you don't have to do anything else but just press it on. And then again, I'm just gonna do any excess all over my shoulders. It was so hard to take it off, but it came off. Eventually, it did. Okay, so here I am actually putting a little bit of the red Chroma Cake and a flat brush because I wanted to make it look like she was alive at some point. And then a little bit on, I don't know where I was going with the bottom of the lip, but it's okay. And then using that same eyeshadow that we used on our cheeks, I put it just to blend out that under eye, and then a little bit on my nose too. And then I also used a little bit of spray hair dye and put it all over my hair to make it look old and dusty. And this is pretty much it, guys. This is my final look. Oh my god, I fell in love with this. But here she is, guys. Thank you so much for watching it, and thank you so much for your patience too. I had so much fun creating this look, and I will be making another one because I really enjoyed it. So stay tuned. Thank you so much.
Ooh. I'm transforming myself into a Dalmatian.
I am a panda.
Panda.
I'm a panda bear.
Wow. Cracky crack.
I don't know what randomly went right. It's looking a little bit like what the by this time next year, you guys, I'm gonna be so hot.
Okay, that's enough.
That's going on the video.
Raise me up so I can stand on mountains. Can't see you. Still. Black on black doesn't really work.